Hello, welcome back. So now in this part, we are going to understand some concepts that are being used in the structure analysis. And first concept is related to the conditions of the equilibrium. Well, when we consider that equilibrium is set up in a body, now for that, we can consider a structure is in equilibrium with a system of applied loads when the resultant force in any direction and resultant moment about any point are zero. So in any body, if it is subjected to n number of forces, so we will call that body is in equilibrium when the resultant force about any direction and the resultant moment because of that force is zero. So mathematically we can represent that as that by the three equations of the static equilibrium. Now three equations are summation of h. Summation of h is equals to 0 means all the force in the horizontal plane if their algebraic sum is 0. Similarly, the second equation is summation of v. It means when all the vertical forces, when their summation, their algebraic sum is 0. And the third equation is about the moment, which means when the algebraic sum of all the forces, algebraic sum of all the moment of the forces about all the axes, whether it is x-axis, y-axis or z-axis, when moment about all the axes is 0, then we say that equilibrium is set up. Well, in a three dimension, like in this case, you can see, generally we express the space in terms of the Cartesian coordinate, which is x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. So in case of three dimension, so this is actually the case of three dimension. So in three dimension, the movement can occur along x-axis, along z-axis, along y-axis. So because of the force, the movement can occur along z, x and y-axis. Similarly, the rotation, because of the moment, rotation can occur along the z-axis, rotation can occur along the x-axis or along the y-axis. So you can see there are six movement that is occurring. So in three dimension, generally we have six equation. So those six equation are, I'm writing here as summation of fx should be equals to 0, summation of fy should be equals to 0, summation of fz is equals to 0. Similarly, the moment, summation of m about x-axis should be 0, summation of m about y-axis should be 0, and summation of z-axis should be 0. So these six equations generally we use when we are analyzing our building in three dimension. But analyzing building in three dimension is a little complex, and because of that, what we do is we only consider our building, or we consider parts of our building, and we analyze them as in the two-dimensional system. And that is why the elements that we design or that we analyze in the two dimension, they are known as planar structures or planar elements. So generally what we do is we consider only a plane. For example, we will avoid z-axis and we will analyze our structure in x and y plane. So for the force, there may be fx, force in x direction, and force in y direction. But the moment in this plane will occur opposite, will occur along the axis, which will be perpendicular to this plane. So you can see, I'm just deleting it. So basically, you can see if we consider xy plane, the moment will occur like this. And you can see this moment is actually along the z-axis. So in that case, what we will do is, for two-dimensional system, the equation of equilibrium will become summation of fx is equals to 0, summation of fy is equals to 0, and summation of m about z should be 0. So only three quantity will be there, only three equations will be there when we are dealing in the 2 dimension. But when we are dealing in the 3 dimension, then we will consider all the moments about these three axes and all the forces about along the all three axes. So in that case, in the 3 dimension, we will be having 6 equation of equilibrium. But when we are dealing or when we are analyzing the elements along the 2 dimension, so in that case, we will be having 3 equations only. So one equation will be related to the force, summation of the force along the x-axis, summation of forces along the y-axis should be 0, and summation of moment of all the forces about z-axis should be 0. So once we arrived at this condition, we will say that the condition of equilibrium is achieved. So as I have discussed in the previous case, there are 6 possible movement in case of the 3-dimensional system, and there are 3 possible movement in case of the 2-dimensional system. So now we will be talking about those movement, and those movement are actually in the structure analysis we call them degree of the freedom. So for example, if there is a 3-dimensional body, say our building generally is in the 3 dimension. So if we consider, like you can see, this is the vertical column and it is supporting this beam and this beam. So, and these beams will be taking some load. Now, because of this load, the beam movement, I mean, beam is connected with this column and this is the joint. Now, this joint movement can occur in which direction? So this movement can occur along the x direction, it may occur along the y direction, or it may occur along the z. So if I make the axis also, say this is the z axis, this is y axis, and this is the x axis. So now we will visualize that this joint can translate along the x axis because of the load. It can translate along the z axis. Obviously it may get down because of the load. So movement can occur because along the z axis also. Similarly, the movement can occur along the x direction also. Movement can occur along the y direction also. Possible movement. Similarly, these loads are not concurrent, they are non-concurrent. So because of that, they may generate rotation also. So rotation can occur along the z-axis. It can occur along the y-axis. This rotation can occur along the x-axis. So therefore, the total movement in this joint are 6. One is, 3 are the translation and 3 are the rotation. So translation is because of the force, direct force, and rotation is because of the non-concurrent force. They will be providing they will be applying the moment. So these 6 movement, they are actually known as degree of freedom. So now I will be showing them using the diagram how that can occur. So you can see here in this diagram, translation, as I said, there are 6 possible degree of freedom in any joint, in any node in the structure, and those 6 possible system, there you can see translation along the, sorry. So translation along the x-axis, sorry. Translation along the x-axis, translation along the y-axis, and translation along the z-axis. So that is the translation because of the force, and rotation. At the same time, body can also rotate about x-axis, about y-axis, about z-axis. So these are the possible movement in a structure system. So basically, our aim is to restrict these movement. Now, this is the three-dimensional system where I am showing these 6 movements. But as I said, we will generally analyze our structure in 2 dimensions for less complication. So the same degree of freedom in case of 3 dimension, you can see there will be. Now when we analyze our system in 2 dimension, so in 2 dimension there are 3 possible movement. One is translation along the x-axis, translation along the y-axis, and rotation about the z-axis. So you can see here, and these 3 movements are in the 2 dimension. When we analyze our structure in 2 dimension, then these are the 3 movements that we are supposed to stop or constrain. Now to stop these constraints, what we do is we provide the supports. So without providing the supports, structure would be unstable. This movement, if this movement that I have shown in the previous 2 slides, if this movement occurs, then our structure will not be in the equilibrium. So to get our structure in the equilibrium, we have to constrain those movement, and for constraining those movement, we provide the supports. Now supports, without support, structure will be unstable. And what support does is it provides the constraints and reduce the number of degree of freedom. So basically in 3 dimension, in the 2-dimensional system, we have 3 degree of freedom: translation in x, translation in y, and rotation about the z. So to reduce this degree of freedom, what we do is we provide the supports. Now here we will understand what are the various types of support that we generally use in our structure system to prevent the rotation or translation. So as I said, depending on the number and type of constraints, there are different kinds of support that we will see. So in this case, you can see without providing the support, the building is not in the equilibrium. So to stop this movement, what we do is we will provide the support here. So you can see here, there we have provided support. Now if we apply the force, the building will not collapse or it will not become unstable. So to make our building stable, we provide the supports like this. So now we will see what are the types of support that are available and that generally we use in our structure. So first type of support is known as fixed support. Now fixed support is also known as built-in support. So in case of built-in support, now it can prevent all the degree of freedom. So if we are dealing in the 3 dimension, then we say that fixed support can stop all the degree of freedom, which means translation along XYZ axis and rotation about XYZ axis, it will be prevented by providing the fixed support. So as I said, we will be dealing in the 2 dimension. So basically there will be 3 degree of freedom, and all 3 degree of freedom can be prevented by providing the fixed support. Now how do we represent that support? So the representation of the support is like this one and this one. So you can see the element is trying to rotate, but here it is fixed, firmly held. And in the real life, these fixed support can be like the foundation, like the element. In this case, you can see there is a column, and this column is connected with the foundation. So this joint will be considered as the fixed support, which means there will be zero movement. It will not get down, it will not get left or right, or it will not rotate about any axis. So such kind of support is known as the fixed support. Now there are some other supports which may not be able to provide all the constraints. So like you can see here, the second type of support is the hinged support. It is also known as pin support. And in case of hinged support, you can see only translations can be constrained, but rotation cannot be constrained. You can see here in this joint, this body will not get down, it will not get right or left, but it is actually rotating. It is rotating like this. So which means hinge support offer two reactions. One will be the horizontal reaction, or we will say constraint against the translation. So horizontal reaction or vertical reaction. It will offer two types of reaction, but the third degree of freedom, which is about the rotation, it will not offer any reaction against the rotation. While if I show you the previous slide, in the previous slide, this fixed support is offering reaction like this. Vertical reaction is also offered by this support, and horizontal reaction is also offered by this support, and also at the same time it also offers the moment reaction. So if this body is trying to rotate from this joint, it will not allow its rotation. So now you can closely monitor this and the second diagram which is on the slide. So you can see here the whole body is rotating along this point, which means rotation is allowed in the hinged, or rotation, I mean, there is no reaction against the rotation, but this body cannot move horizontally and vertically, which means it will provide the reaction along the x-axis and along the y-axis. So the representation, or in the real life, you can see this is the example of hinged. This is also the example of hinged connection. This is also the example of hinged connection, and this one. Similarly, we have the third type of support, which is called the roller support. Now, in the roller support, it offers only one reaction. It offers only one reaction, and which is the vertical reaction. So, which means on the roller support, rotation can occur, and also the horizontal movement can also occur. So, you can see here, this is the representation. So, this is not allowed, this is offering reaction vertically, but it has movement along the x-axis, it has movement along the, in terms of the rotation. So the physical representation of this roller support, you can see here in the flyovers, you will notice such kind of supports. These are known as the roller support. So this horizontal movement is actually allowed here sometimes for the relaxation of the thermal expansion. So provision for the thermal expansion is provided, or in terms of the provision of the roller support. This is also the type of roller support. This is also the representation of roller support here also. So in that case, horizontal movement and rotation can occur, but it will offer reaction vertically. So basically, number of reaction offered by the roller is 1, while in case of the hinged, number of reaction offered by the hinge connection is 2. One is horizontal and second is the vertical translation, and it is not providing reaction against the rotation. So there is only 2 reaction offered by the hinged support. Now the reaction offered by the fixed support will be 3. So all 3 degree of freedom can be prevented by providing the fixed support. So it will provide 3 support, 1 vertical, 1 horizontal, and 1 moment reaction, or reaction in terms of the moment. Now, based on the support condition, or based on the types of support, we have different types of beam. So for example, the first beam you can see here, the beam is connected hinged in this case, and on 2 supports it is connected using the rollers. So roller will only offer vertical support in terms of FV, and as this is the hinge connection, it will offer 2 reactions. One is horizontal reaction and the second one is the vertical reaction. So if there is any vertical load, or if there is any inclined load, so this vertical load can be prevented by the reaction offered by all 3 supports in these vertical FV. So this FV will, all 3 FV will offer reaction against this vertical downward load. Similarly, if there is an inclined load, then this inclined load will offer, or will try to apply, or try to move this beam vertically downward, and horizontally also, because this inclined force will be having two components. So this horizontal component will be resisted by this horizontal reaction FH, and this vertical component of this inclined force will be resisted by these three supports reaction FV, FV, FV. Okay, so horizontal reaction comes into the play when there is a horizontal load or inclined load. So inclined load will be having horizontal component, so that horizontal component can be resisted by the horizontal reactions. Similarly, we have other type of beam. So this is actually the example of continuous beam, which means when a beam is resting on two or more than two supports. So then in that case, we will call the beam as continuous beam. Similarly, we may have simply supported beam. Now, simply supported beam will be called when one end of the beam is hinged and the other end of the beam will be roller supported. In that case, we will call the beam as simply supported beam. Now, in this case, you can see there will be three reactions which will occur. So this hinge will offer two reactions, horizontal and vertical reaction, and this roller will offer only one reaction, which is the vertical reaction. Similarly, we have another type of beam which is called the cantilever beam. Now, cantilever beam is a beam which is fixed from one end but free at the other end. So in that case, we call the beam as cantilever beam. Now, as I said, one end will be fixed, which means the support is fixed. So on the fixed support, there will be three reactions offered by this beam. So there you can see one reaction will be horizontal. So for any inclined load, if it is having vertical and horizontal component, so this horizontal component will be resisted by this FH, and this vertical load will be resisted by this FV, and also this vertical load will be creating a moment about this point. So this moment will be resisted by the moment reaction, which is in terms of M. So this M will try to resist this reaction. Now the effect of rotation because of the vertical component of this force. Similarly, we have other beam which is called overhanging beam. Now, overhanging beam is a beam which is overhang from one end or maybe from both ends. So in this example, you can see this beam is extended from the roller support, which means it is overhang from one end only. So such kind of beam is known as overhanging beam, and as the support is in terms of roller, in terms of the hinge, so this will again be having three reactions, two reaction on the hinge and one reaction at the roller, while three reaction will be at the fixed ends. So now, like if we take this example of cantilever, in case of cantilever, one end is fixed and one end is free. Now, what if we fix this end also? This end is already fixed, and if we fix this end also, in that case, this beam will become fixed beam because this is fixed from both the ends. And in that case, total number of reaction it will be 6. 3 reaction on this end and 3 reaction will be here also, like this, this, and this. So 3 reaction here also. So total 6 reaction will be there in the fixed beam. And in the cantilever beam, there are 3 reactions. In this case, there are 4 reactions, FH, FV, FV, and FV. And in this case, there are 3 reactions. In this case also 3 reactions are there. So that is the types of beam. Now, if we talk about the free body diagram, now basically, what is the meaning of free body diagram? Basically, to apply the equation of equilibrium, what we do is we must account for all the knowns and unknown forces which act on a particle. So generally, in a physical system, if we try to analyze that physical system, what we do is we make a mathematical model. And in the mathematical model, all the unknowns and known forces are drawn on the diagram. So that kind of diagram is generally known as free body diagram. So as it says, The best way to do this is to think of the particle as isolated and free from its surroundings. So basically, if there is a building like this, and if we want to analyze this particular beam only, so in that case what we will do is we will show this beam and we will display the load which will be coming on this beam, and we will also show the reaction which will be offered on the supports. So that becomes the free body diagram of this particular beam. Okay, so this is what we do, and this is what is all about in the free body diagram. I will take example of free body diagram using this. So there you can see there is a depression, there is a water body, and on the water body there is a plank, and on the plank there is a person standing. So now if we try to express this condition as a free body diagram, so we can simply show this as our mathematical model. So this is beam, and on the beam there is a person standing. So the load of this person will be acting as a point load which is acting on this particular point. Similarly, as this plank is resting on the two ends, so these two ends will offer the reaction. So we will be showing the reaction. So this becomes the free body diagram of this physical system. Now I will take another example to show the free body diagram. For example, in this case you can see this is the beam which is having hinge at one end and which is having roller support on the other end. So this becomes the simply supported beam. So this is the example of simply supported beam. Now if we want to convert this beam as a free body diagram, so in that case we have to show all the knowns and unknown forces in this beam. So unknown force in this beam will be in terms of the reaction. Like you can see the known force is already shown here, but unknown force will be in terms of the reaction which will be offering here. So the reaction, once we provide the reaction, then you can see here roller support is replaced by the vertical reaction, because roller can give only one reaction. Similarly, if we remove the hinge, there will be two reactions, and reaction will be in terms of right hand side reaction, left hand side reaction. These are the vertical reaction to resist this, and this can offer horizontal reaction also. So if there is any inclined load, so to resist that we have horizontal reaction also. So that becomes the free body diagram of beam AB. Okay, so we will write this as free body diagram of beam AB. So this becomes the mathematical model for this beam to analyze. Similarly, we may have another beam which is fixed from one end and is roller supported from the other end. So in that case, how do we draw the free body diagram? So we know that this fixed support is offering three reactions, and roller support offer one reaction only. So we have to show those unknown forces in terms of the reaction. So now if we remove the roller, then we can replace that with the vertical reaction. Similarly, if we remove the fixed support, then we know fixed support offer three reactions. One is horizontal, one is vertical, and one in terms of the rotation. So we will remove the fixed support, and now you can see there are three reactions. One is vertical, horizontal, and rotation. So those becomes the total number of reaction. So that is the external free body diagram. Now if we want to cut a section, like if we want to cut section MN, if we want to cut this beam here, we will just visualize that if we cut here, then what are the force that this beam will be experiencing. So if we cut this beam from here, from at line MN, then the reaction on this end will be in terms of the reaction offered by the hinge connection. Now at this point corresponding to here, so the reaction will be here 3. There will be 3 reaction. Basically at this point where we are just visualizing that if we cut the beam from here, then what are the beams, what are the reaction which will be coming here. So because of this load, the beam may try to rotate. So to resist that rotation, there will be a rotation in terms of mx. Rotate, I mean, there will be a reaction against the rotation in terms of mx. Similarly, because of this load, there may be extension of this beam. So this beam may try to extend. So because of that, there is a reaction Fx, or there is an internal force as Fx. Similarly, this force will try to get down this beam downward. So in that case, there is a force which is called shear force in terms of Vx. So this is how we can show the internal force in the beam. So basically what we have done is we have just visualizing that if we cut the beam, then what are the internal forces that will be in the at this point. So those internal force will be in terms of rotation, in terms of axial, and in terms of shear. Similarly, if we try to look at the right hand side part, then again at this point on the right hand side part, what are the internal forces? So internal forces at the right hand side will be opposite to the force that we have seen. So you can see in the left hand side, the axial internal force will be Fx, and on the right hand side the same Fx will be here. So both Fx will cancel out, and ultimately it will be showing that there is no breakage. Similarly, Vx here was downward, here it is upward, because this force is trying to get down, but at the same time it is also not getting down, it is actually up. So this force is also balanced, this force and this force is also balanced. And similarly this rotation mx is clockwise, but this rotation mx is anti-clockwise. I mean, this is anti-clockwise and this is clockwise. So both the rotation are also balanced, and because of that there is no breakage. We are just visualizing it. So that is the free body diagram of the beams or of the models that we generally use to analyze the system. So thank you. We will continue our discussion in the next part.